Hey, what is going on, everybody? This is Andy Pride back with Milk and Cookies Total War,
And this is Madness.
and we are back with another Shogun 2 replay. This was the first of the subscriber replays from the subscriber game night that we had a couple of weeks ago, and I want to start out actually by kind of apologizing about that. We really did a awful, awful job advertising when this was going to be, and honestly, I don't know if it was because we didn't have a lot of people that were interested in it, or if we just did a bad job advertising. But we only did the one video like a week before the actual subscriber game night happened, and really only, I'm gonna be honest, like 6 or 7 people tops showed up for it, and some of those were our friends. So it was kind of a failure, but we did get some good replays, and those that we did get, we're gonna be sharing with you. Um, so yeah, let's get into this one right now. We don't press play yet, but let's just go over their army comps real quick. Do you want to go over Pinoy's army setup real quick?
Alright, so Pinoy is bringing a Katana core, 4 Katana Samurai, some of them nicely upgraded, one of them has a lot of charge upgrades, I've been talking about that. I think it's a waste of money, but it does make them slightly better. He has a Bow Monk up front, with 200 range, some Yari Ash backing up the Katanas, and a Leadership General, and I think he also had some cavalry in hiding, but it's obviously gonna come out later. And yeah, what does Puppytron have? Yari Cav.
Yeah, Naginata Warrior Monk. He's got some Yari Cav, and actually we forgot to mention that Pinoy has a Yari Ashigaru with Hold Firm in the back there.
Oh yes, one of them has Hold Firm.
Kind of a
Correct.
weird formation he has going on there, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But he has Naginata Warrior Monks on the flanks, pretty good upgrades, and they actually both have a 200 range bow. So on a map like Lowlands, that can actually make a big impact on the game. Lowlands is a great skirmish map, and I actually have no range units at all. I like to go with a heavy cav core this game. So I'm rocking 2 Yari cav, a fire cav, a Kiyomasa's Katana Cav, and a Spears of Shizugatake. So I definitely put a lot of money into my cavalry. I actually have 2 Hero Cav, both have absolutely massive charge and attack upgrades. So if I get into a cav fight with them, I think unequivocally we have the cav advantage in this battle.
Yes,
The
pretty
problem is,
much.
again, depending on how they play, they have the massive range advantage, so they can make me attack in a certain position that I don't want to be in. I have a Nodachi core, and then you can go over your army setup real quick.
Well, my army setup is pretty much the same as usual. I have a melee gen. This time I added the Tenkagoken sword to my Kawari Kabuto because I used AggonyDuck's mod that increases the drop probability, and I got all the rando drops in the game, which is awesome for me. And I can highly recommend getting that mod if you want some too.
Yeah, I think we'll probably include that link to the mod in that description.
Yes.
I realize some of you are probably gonna hate that kind of thing, but honestly, this game's been out for 2.5 years. I've played this game 1,100 hours, and I don't have World Weary. I don't have a ton of the retainer drops. Like, it's stupid how like
Yes.
they're like rank fours that get like World Weary, and I've played 1,000 hours and I haven't gotten it yet. So I
Yes.
haven't actually used the mod yet. I'm probably gonna use it pretty soon. We're gonna include it in the description because AggonyDuck did great work with that, and he deserves to get some credit for that and some
Absolutely.
exposure as well.
Okay.
Um,
So to continue going over my army setup, I have two
yeah.
light cav units. Oh, three, I'm sorry. Three light cav, and two a Yari cav and a Nagi monk cav. This time I'm not using the Great Guard because I do realize they're quite expensive, and I feel like I could be more cost effective using some relatively cheap cavalry units and bringing more of them. Then obviously I have my four Nodachis in the middle, flanked by two Yari Samurai, all level 6, two Matchlocks, rank 5, some meat shields. Yeah, I think you've all seen this army by now. And yeah, that's it for the army setups. Should we get into the battle?
Yeah, let's do 3, 2, 1, go. And so yeah, like I was saying, the lands is a great skirmish map, and Puppytron has a pretty big advantage just going into the start of this battle with that Daikyu Samurai. Now, I quickly noticed that he brought a 200 range bow, and so my first thought is that I want to cross the river as quickly as possible, but I actually decided not to do that, and the reason for that is that we have the shrine on our side. We want to make sure that we get that, and one thing we wanted to do was make sure that when they set up on the other side of the river, we didn't have to cross under Mashlock or Bowfire, and that's really important when they have an uphill advantage and a good line of sight with their range units, you don't want to be attacking in a terrible position like a river. So I'm gonna go capture the shrine and then go through the river, kind of in the woods in the middle of the map here, and Madness is gonna flank all the way around, and that way we can kind of avoid the positioning problems that would arise if I chose to attack directly across the river.
Right. And just to point this out real quick, he actually does have a 175 ranged IQ, but yeah, it's just a
Is it
minor detail.
175?
He still
Yeah.
has the range advantage, obviously. And what everything you said still applies. So, yeah, since you don't have any matchlocks, I've decided to put a matchlock Ash contingent on your side to maybe assist a little bit, be able to, yeah, answer these matchlock warrior monks here and respond to them, and maybe even take them out if we play it right. So you don't have so you have a way to respond to them in terms of range. And yeah, I'm just flanking around all the way, and Indy's Cav's gonna join me here. We're gonna try to get a surround off against them, because as it seems, they're going to box up here next to the sword dojo and just dare us to come to them with those bow units, which makes sense, but honestly I don't think getting surrounded so easily is gonna be a good idea in pretty much any battle.
No, they I understand what they were trying to do. They have a sword dojo. They want to surround that, make sure that we can't take it away from them. And by the way they position their troops, like it definitely takes care of that problem. The problem with what they do though is that with their bows, I think they should be trying to get really aggressive and skirmish a lot before they finally get into a melee engagement. So look, if you look at their positioning, they're setting up the sword dojo. There's a lot of space behind them that they could maybe kite away from us and cross the river
Right.
and make us attack across the river there. There's tons of stuff they could do with their skirmish units that they don't actually end up doing. They kind of pigeonhole themselves into this little area right here next to the sword dojo and allow themselves to get surrounded. And so
And they
obviously what we want to do is push our cav advantage. We have better cavalry than they do. I have 2 hero cav. So I don't think they want to get so they do get compact. I don't think they should have done that though.
Yeah, well, they do have enough cav to stand up to ours, so if they just had maybe a few more spears and used them a little better to support those cav units, they could have pretty much warded off our cavalry and bought some time to actually skirmish aggressively with those bows, which I think they needed to do in order to make them pay off, because they cost 1100 cocoa fresh.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have nothing to respond to them with. All we have is our cav, but if you have a bunch of spears and matchlocks to back up the bows, and this river in the middle, we can't really use that effectively to deal with it. So really what they should have done was put pressure on the units next to the shrine here, and maybe either make us attack, push us into a bad attack, or make us back off from the building and concede the building so they can have this advantage here, if they choose to pick it up. Or at least, stop us from getting the +3 morale, I think it is, that the shrine gives you these days. But yeah, they decided to, and they did say they weren't very experienced in 2v2s, they did decide to just back up and hope for the best, which,
Yeah.
as we all know, is not always the best thing you can do. You want to be aggressive, you want to use your advantage and make your opponent play your game, and in this case they fully allowed us to play our game with the cav.
So we're kind of positioning ourselves now. We really have about as good a surround off as we possibly could. Madness has his matchlock over on our side of the river next to the shrine, and he'll be able to skirmish with that a little bit. But really,
Yes.
we're going to just completely surround them here. I mean, our cavalry has tons of space to circle around behind, and I mean, they have aggressive armies. Like, they have 21 attack katanas. They have the range advantage. Why they decide to put all of their they just should not have put all of their troops in such a compact area.
Right.
Like, katanas do well in a kind of grinded out melee fest, but not when they're completely surrounded.
Yes, once you're in this box, you also lose your like your window of opportunity to take the initiative and make us do whatever you need us to do, to push your advantage and negate ours. So yeah, we just
Your Avatar's
closed.
bodyguard just got into that, and I can
Right,
never worry.
I filmed it. We closed the gap pretty much here. They now have no way to take the initiative because whatever they do, we can pull back, use different units to respond. We now have the initiative, and yeah, I'm using it to send in my melee 10 right away because you know he has no penalty versus spears, so he's gonna destroy these monks. And I'm just gonna be aggressive with all my units. Have my cav go in here, and have my Nodachis get into the sword units. And since they're so bunched up, even with my 4 Nodachis, I'm gonna be able to take on a lot of units. And at the same time, you're also attacking, so yeah, they can't get out of this this pickle here. They can only hope to grind out a victory, but against the kinds of units we have, with the kind of position we have the advantage.
And you may not have caught it with the camera, but one thing that I think can be really good in 2v2s is kind of baiting out an enemy cavalry attack by placing your cavalry on one side of the field and then quickly shifting your cavalry over to the other side when the melee engagement starts. So what I did there was I kept my cavalry over on Mattis' side of the field and then quickly shifted them all the way over across the river and back around behind him. And because his cavalry was already on the other side of the field, they had no way to respond to my cavalry, so they're going to get in basically for free behind Red, and Puppytron just not going to be able to deal with it. I mean, he was already losing the melee engagement, and then with 3 or 4 heavily upgraded cav units hitting him from behind, it's just going to be a mess route.
Right, and yeah, they're, as you can see, they're already losing tons of units, and the situation is not going to get any better.
It is worth mentioning that that game was actually extremely, extremely laggy, so
Yeah.
what played out right there in about 5 minutes actually took, I don't know, I want to say like 15 or 20, yeah. It took a while.
Yeah, there goes Puppytron's general, and his army, and his ally. So, yeah, well, despite this, I just want to say good game to our opponents.
Yeah, thank you for showing up. I mean,
Thank you for
Jesus.
showing up. That was important.
Yeah, it was.
See you on the stat screen. Alright, so here we are on the stat screen. As you can see, it was as one-sided as it looked. In terms of losses and enemies killed, we have, yeah, India has got 1,000 kills, 400 losses. I got almost 1,200 kills, close to 400 losses. And obviously their stats mirror ours. That's just what happens when you get so surrounded and when you hand the initiative to your opponent. You can't afford to allow them to play their game, and when you see they have so much cav, you can't allow them to use that advantage so effectively. You need your own cav to block it, you need your own spears to help out your cav against the enemy cav, and you need to push whatever advantage it is you have, and in that case it was missiles. With the river, they could have easily done that. Keeping the flank secure, I think, is what would have been the difficult part, but putting some pressure on us and not allowing us to do what we wanted to do would have been possible and necessary.
Yeah. And Puppytron and Pinoy are both subs, so they can probably speak for themselves if they end up watching this video. But I would say that they really, I think they just got nervous. Like, they kind of,
Yeah.
like, I don't think they were confident in their micro skills, and I've seen them both play, and they're both pretty, like, they both have good micro. So I think they could have just been, if they had just been more aggressive and more confident in their own skills, I think they would have done much better that game. And they, yeah, like I said, they just kind of sat next to that sword dojo and waited to get attacked. And if they had just gone forward with those range units and pushed their skirmish advantage, I think they would have done a lot better that game. But with that said, I still want to say good game to them. I really enjoyed it, and we can go over the individual unit statistics now.
Right.
So I had 145 kills on a Yarikav. That was my MVP. Extended anal probes. Nice name for Long Yari Ashigaru. Tron. Nice. Yeah, that's 175 kills for them. They were really what held down the meat of his infantry body. So they, yeah, I mean, Long Yari Ashigaru heavily upgraded Really, really good unit. If you haven't tried
Yeah.
them out, definitely do so.
And they were only level 4, but
Yeah.
yeah, they destroy even a katana hero with no effort. It's scary,
If you
but
attack them from, well, don't attack them from the
yes,
front.
do
But
not attack them from the front. Pretty
but
much,
if you do, yeah, you're gonna be losing some guys for sure.
don't attack them, pretty much, unless you have missiles to do it with. Just go around them if you can, destroy everything else, and then just have them break. But do not fight them if you can avoid it. Yeah, well, my MVP was my general, followed by a Yari Cav, close to 200 kills. You saw what I did with them. Just smashed into those monks, and they didn't really have a lot to respond with. Their matchlock unit, I think they only might have had one matchlock unit, was on the side, like on your side, facing my matchlock detachment I sent to your side.
Yeah.
So they were distracted, and I had free reign with my general, which is another thing I really managed to use effectively. And yeah, that's also one of those things you may not realize at first glance how powerful such a melee gen can be, and that you always need to have a gun unit basically following him around, or a katana cav, a great guard. But yeah, who brings a katana cav just to destroy the enemy gen? It's easier to use like a matchlock Ash or something.
Yeah, Pinoy had a Katana Cav, and that was actually his MVP with like almost 100 kills,
Yeah,
but
it was level
there's
6.
no way I don't think that Katana Cav could stand up to your gen. I mean, Tenga Oaken Sword with a plus 10 attack, 36 attack general is going to be able to kill pretty much everything in the game except a Great Guard. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can keep a detachment off to protect against the gen, but for the most part, you just want to tie him down. You're not going to be able to kill it right away.
Yeah, by far the easiest way is to gun him down.
Yeah.
And I'm not I'm not gonna get mad at you if you use mounted gunners or something to try and get rid of my gen, because I've lost battles to melee gens like this, just because I didn't have any way to respond to them. And yeah, I get why somebody might be annoyed if they face something like this, and they might be annoyed to hear that I'm actually using a mod to get my legendary retainers. But yeah. You can't counter it. Just like it is perfectly possible to win without the cav advantage if you play it right and if you emphasize your own strength. But yeah, as Pinoy and Puppytron pointed out, they weren't all that confident and not all that experienced in 2v2s. So, well, we might see them growing better and beating some awesome players. Who knows?
Good game to you guys. Thank you for showing up again. Really appreciate it. And we'll be having more subscriber replays on the way shortly. So thank you very much, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.
See ya.